To talk more about markets, what are the big themes that one should look at? We're joined by Anupam Guha, head of ICICI Securities Private Wealth Management Business. Anupam, very good afternoon to you. Thank you so much for firstly joining in with us on ET Now. And I just want to talk about the markets. Obviously, what's your view on the markets, but especially in the terms the rally that we've seen coming in was mainly had been from the mid-cap space versus the large cap and space, which had not performed as much as the broader markets. That was the last leg of rally. Now, where do we see that, and where should one actually look at investing? Mid cap or small cap or large cap?
Yeah, thanks for having me on the show. So as you rightly pointed out, I think there's been a fair bit of broad-based rally that's happened. It was led by the large caps, but large caps really haven't performed as much in the last 6-8 months. And the last leg of rally that's happened is really from the mid and the small cap. But I think the way you may want to look at it is that because there are opportunities across the spectrum, the market from our context looks extremely constructive. It seems to be fairly valued. If you were to look at, say, for example, a Nifty with EPS at 1080 projected for financial year 25. And if you look at the long-term, multiple at maybe 2022, really we are looking at, healthy returns even in the large cap space. Also from a small and mid cap perspective, I think you may want to look at the earnings growth. I think the earnings growth has been extremely robust. And in India today, really the reason for the rally, I would say in many ways is really the strong economy that we are at, right? Inflation seems to be under control. If somebody were to look at growth capital, I don't see any other place than to give an allocation to India. And I think it is that, especially with, in the last 2 months, FI money coming in, my sense is you would see broad rally across the spectrum.
Hi, Anupam, Somit here. My question is on the Nifty IT index. Now, on a YTD basis, if you see, the losses that we had seen in the Nifty IT index in the early part of the year has completely been recouped. In fact, the Nifty IT index is now trading in green for a year-to-date basis. So does this mean that the worst is over or is priced in for the Nifty IT index, or is it just the mid-cap IT space that has been continuously outperforming and will continue to outperform the large cap?
Yeah, so, our advice to our investors is largely been from an asset allocation perspective. Because, there is a deluge of information. If you look at each of these sectors in piecemeal, people tend to get overboard or tend to take, decisions which may not be appropriate to their portfolio. In our model portfolio, the way we have constructed is that, especially for, say, for example, from a growth investor, we believe that you should continue to hold, and which is the first point that I had made, is that you should continue to hold on large and flexi cap. Almost, my sense is close to 50-55% of that. There has been, broad-based rally across sectors, and which is where maybe a 20% allocation can go into a mid and small cap. And specific to your question, actually in our model portfolio, we are giving a contrarian allocation of, 5% to IT. The rally has happened, but, we believe that IT per se, I think because there are 3 legs to it. In US continues to, I think, have a muted growth, especially from a medium to long-term perspective. And hence, one may just want to take a contrarian view and not really go overboard from an allocation perspective.
Right. One more thing I want to quickly ask is just in terms of one sector that you would look at, which would that sector be right now?
See, with 1 year to go for elections, I would say that, and in this budget as well, the government spoke about 10 lakh crores of, infra spend. I would believe that any sector that benefits out of capital expenditure that happens both on the public as well as on the private side would benefit. So the entire pack of infra, capital goods, cement, I think is something that one must. And again, as I said, that from an allocation perspective, while you have your core allocation to, say a BFSI and other sectors, tactically, one may want to increase allocation to some of these themes that I just spoke about, which will benefit out of the capital expenditure. One word of caution here I may just want to give, and specifically for the thematic plays that one would want to play, because it's not core, right? Because when you construct a portfolio, you talk about core allocation, you talk about strategic allocation, and then the tactical bit. On tactical, it's important to come in where you increase the allocation, but you should also be mindful in terms of when you would want to exit out.
Sure.
Given that you're playing a theme.
Sure. Thank you so much, Anupam, for giving us your time this afternoon and joining in with us on ET Now. And with that,